I'm headed to town. I'm gonna go to the garden hut and get out the Insta360 camera and see if I can shoot some cool perspectives over there with it. Give me a little something to do today. We've been relaxing this morning. You know, we really are on summer schedule here, enjoying staying up extra late, which we did. We just had to watch the last episode of Dark. And, you know, getting up late subsequently. So, you know, got to get in that 7 or 8 hours of sleep in the summer while you can get it. Tomorrow I've got the usual shopping trip planned with Michelle, and there are a couple of fun adventures coming later in the week. So today we're resting up. We've got a flagman and a be prepared to stop on our curve. I think I said the other day that it does look like, due to the housing going in up here in the field on the left, that they are widening the road, putting in a shoulder. Had I realized this a little sooner, or if I could turn into the environmental park, I'd back around and go through the neighborhood. So let me remember to do that on the way home. Our cool air gets here tomorrow, so today we're still pretty hot. It's in the 90s. It feels very humid out there. It's not comfortable today. So they're not putting pavement down today, just continuing to get the soil ready over there for paving. Just taking it nice and slow. Don't let Ruby fall off on the side, and don't hurt any construction people, road working people. Ruby's happy over there. There's a breeze, which is bad for good audio quality, but good for me. And it's still looking really pretty out here. Have some really nice Japanese maples here to choose from. Of course, the ones we have planted in our yard are looking really great now. I'm noticing that most of the hanging baskets that make this outside area here look so pretty have been sold. Of course, it's, you know, getting into the summer now. Kids will be going back to school before we know it. Oh, happy day. Yes, it is a happy day when the sunflowers are blooming. See a really pretty swallowtail over here on this hanging basket. Hey, buddy. Hi. I just love looking. Not gonna get tired of looking. So hopefully when y'all watch this, you'll feel like you were right here with me, because you'll get to look around and see it in all perspective and directions, and it'll be really neat. coming to check out this pretty hibiscus flower. Since they're not hardy here, I don't usually buy them, but I love looking at them. I just don't have any place to store it over the winter. Mandevilla vine in multiple colors. See, she still has quite a bit of coleus. I'm very pleased with the piece I brought here earlier this year. Even though it's clouded up out here, I think I've had all the heat I can handle for now. I've got sweat dripping off my forehead. It's time to go back in the AC. Ruby sounds like I don't know, train today, a freight car, loud. She's loud today. She's really loud. It's 95 out here. It probably feels like 105. The heat index, it's horrible. I got into Ruby after walking around the garden hut and drank 12 ounces of water. I was just so hot. Obviously, I'm headed into Walmart now. I need a few things. I've got about an hour before I've got to be back to the house to grab Johnny for Taekwondo. And I think I can get what I need and get over there to get him in time. Summer clearance is here. Did you know the problem in North Carolina is if you don't have a screened in area, the bugs, they just want to carry you off. It's not very enjoyable sitting outside too much. Not in the summer anyway. I hadn't seen the Baymax car before. That's pretty cute. The Matchbox section and the regular Hot Wheels section. Pretty empty. They set up the new aisles here by the front with school supplies because it's getting to be that time. It's another one of those high buys.
High buy, yep, that's
Thanks
right.
for swapping my important water bottle there. Yeah,
I gave you a nice cold full one and you gave me a hot empty one.
That's right. I love you, Donnie. Johnny and I will be back in a little bit.
All right, have fun, Johnny.
Don't get too hot in there. Yeah, Ruby says it's 95. It's clouded up and we've got a few drops of rain. Be nice if it cooled things off. I'm sure Don would love to run, but not at 95 degrees. I just been parked over here by Pokestop, sending gifts, making sure eggs are hatching, doing a few trades, clearing out some special tasks, and goodness gracious, it's almost time to go get Johnny. So I had a question today.
Yep.
If I am involved with the police in any way, whether it be I'm in an accident or I'm being harassed on the road, anything that involves Ruby, am I compelled to hand the police officer over my dash cam if he asks for it? And, you know, we kind of thought about it for a bit. This conversation got started when I was reading about the Tesla that ran through the intersection in San Francisco and you know, very sad, killed someone. That was in the news the past few days. And one of the reports I read says that the police had the USB and that they plan to review dash cam footage. It was sort of written like they didn't understand Tesla cam, but that's kind of another whole thing. So I wondered who gave the police the USB. Was it the person driving the car who wasn't the owner of the Tesla because the car was on Turo or rented privately or something, or the owner of the car? And I figure the time to think about this is not when you've been in some sort of an incident.
Right.
When you're upset, possibly hurt, scared, whatever. It's to think about what you would say to the police officer, or understand what the laws are in advance. And there's my phone asking me if Ruby's charging. Let me stop the alarm, which you may or may not have been able to hear on the video. So Don watches this lawyer sometimes, Steve Lehto. And tell us just a little bit about him.
Yeah, he's got a YouTube channel. He's a lawyer in Michigan, practices consumer law, and he's been doing videos for a number of years, like 5 years at least, I guess. And he's done videos on every conceivable topic, a lot of the stuff that's in the news. And he's done several videos on dash cams, and can you record police officers at a traffic
when
stop.
Can you record someone in your vehicle
car.
on a dash cam, and a bunch of other questions. Right. So Don and I, we're not lawyers, and we're not giving you legal advice here. That's not our intent. But I did want to bring some visibility to the fact that there are some laws regarding the dash cam usage, and that you should go watch Steve's videos.
Yeah, we'll put the links in there. And Steve is clear, very clear, that it's 50 states. Laws are like different in 50 states, and so you really need to know what your state's laws are.
That's right. And sometimes he doesn't tell you what it is in all 50 states because he'd be boring on his video. You kind of have to go look it up.
Right.
So I looked up 2 things for the state of North Carolina. North Carolina is a 1 consent state.
Which means audio recordings, that as long as you're part of the conversation, then you can record it. The other party doesn't have to consent to be recorded.
Right. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, or that we do that or don't do that. Just letting you know.
Yeah,
and Michelle is well aware when we're driving down the road that I've got a dash cam right in front of her face up there, and that we're recording on it.
Two consent states, both parties have to agree to be recorded.
Right. North Carolina is a 1 consent. So as long as you're speaking, you're good.
Part of the conversation.
Yeah.
But if you leave your dash cam in the car and you're not there, and people are sitting in the car having a conversation, and you record that, and something happens, you could be found in violation of wiretap.
Our understanding is that's not okay.
Right. That's a wiretap or eavesdropping law. So
yeah, you give your car to your best friend, and you don't tell them there's a dash cam up there recording them, and something happens and you didn't warn them. That's not good in our state.
Right.
Well, I don't think that'd be too good, in any state. But
back to the thing about, do you have to surrender the dash cam? And the short answer is, again, according to what we heard him say, and he said,
our interpretation of what Steve said. Go listen to Steve for yourself.
Is that no, you don't have to, but you also cannot. He was equivocal about this. You cannot destroy anything on that phone. So if your dash cam shows whatever it shows, you've got to leave it, because he has the right to get a warrant and compel you to provide that evidence.
If the police want your dash cam, they're probably going to get your dash cam.
Well, he can ask.
He can ask you, and you can just give it, or you can say, I prefer to consult my lawyer, or please get a warrant.
You can do that.
That's within your rights.
The same thing with your cell phone. He can't, it's literally it falls under the same kind of stuff like your cell phone. Policeman can't say, give me your cell phone, I want to search your cell. You can't do that. He can't do that. With a warrant he can, but he just can't. Of course, he could ask, can I search your cell phone? And you can say, sure, here's my cell phone. But that's fine, you've given up that right. But he cannot demand that you give him your turn over your cell phone unless he has a warrant.
Right. And I think Steve doesn't dislike dash cams, but they're complicated because one of the other things he says is, since you cannot decide if the evidence should be destroyed, once it's been recorded, it's there.
You can't
and
destroy
you can't destroy it. So if you did something stupid, you can't say, well, they don't know about the dash cam, I think I'll just go get rid of it. That can get you in a lot of trouble.
Right.
Well, I guess one can argue which trouble would be worse. The trouble for, but what he said was, no, this is what he said. It is assumed if you deleted the dash cam footage that you were at the worst possible fault. Like that you're guilty, like automatically guilty. If you felt compelled to go delete the data, that you're guilty. He said, in his opinion, please go watch his video, that they'll assume that you were guilty because you felt the need to delete it. That he thinks he, as a lawyer, could argue you out of whatever mess up you did better than he could argue you out of them, the jury, the people deciding, being told that you're guilty because you deleted the information. He said, don't do that.
Yeah, he basically said if the video shows you doing something bad, he could probably explain that badness away because it's a finite bad. It was one thing he only has to explain.
Right.
Where if you delete the video, you could have been guilty of 10,000 different things, and they can just come up with all kind of scenarios that make you guilty. So, and you can't disprove any of them. So he said, please leave the memory card. Don't delete anything.
Yeah, so he says if you're a pretty good driver and don't have too many problems, it's probably okay for you to drive around with the dash cam. But if you or a friend you know is having problems with their car all the time, they probably should not drive around with a dash cam.
Yeah.
So, and then he talked a little bit about whether or not you're allowed to film a stop with a police officer. And he said, look, you don't want to antagonize the police. So I guess in 25 of the states, it's supposedly legal. And in the other, in 25 of the states, it's not legal. And then
he didn't say that.
And then in the other 25, he said, it's still up for discussion about whether it's legal or not.
Right.
North Carolina, something I read, it says it's legal for right now. But
half the federal circuit courts have ruled that it's legal. But the other half of the circuit courts have not ruled. So that doesn't mean it's legal or illegal. It's just you don't know for sure.
Right, it hasn't gone to the Supreme Court yet. And he felt like if it did, his opinion, I think, was that it would become legal for you to do so because you pay the tax money to pay their salary. But anyway, Steve said, look, the police officer might have just pulled you over to tell you your tail light was out or your tire was a little low. And why would you want to antagonize him by recording him? He said if you happen to have a dash cam running all the time, probably not a big deal. I mean, I'm surely not going to think to pull my dash cam down if there are blue lights behind me and I'm being pulled over. I'm going to be freaked out. I'm not going to be thinking about the dash cam.
She's going to be petrified.
Hasn't happened, knock on wood, but not since I was literally a teenager, I don't think. But anyway, so yeah, so you gotta think about that. The recording while the police, and then that goes down to the one consent or two consent states. So the Tesla cam, you're fine. It doesn't record audio.
Right.
It takes away a lot of the legal problems and also puts a lot of questions into what really happened, I think. But it's not recording audio. But like the dash cam that I have in my car is recording audio. So in North Carolina, if I'm collecting the police officer's audio when he comes up to my window, that's legal because I'm in the conversation. But I don't know, wherever we were traveling, I would have to look and see whether the states were passing through our one consent or two consent states, because in some states it wouldn't be legal for the dash cam to continue to record his audio when he came up to the window, unless of course the first words out of my mouth were, officer, I have a dash cam up there or something like that. And may I reach up and pull it down so it stops recording. Anyway, again, Dawn and I are not trying to give you legal advice, but we are trying to sort of make you think about the fact that there are some laws out there with the Tesla cam and these dash cams that have become so prevalent that you probably should educate yourself on what the law is in your state. And this Steve Lehto guy is a good start, and then you can do a little Googling on your own and you can figure out the specifics of where you live.